chat up so we can respond to them.
Okay.
Um, okay, got it. Pop out chat. Okay. So, yes, it looks like we could do this today.
Okay.
Are we live?
Okay.
It's showing we're live. Why are we not showing we're live? Okay, now it says recording in progress, so we're good. Okay, at least for the moment, we're good. Okay, let me try and get this shared out. I know you're trying to shush the baby, not me. I'm not gonna take offense to it. Okay, audio's coming through. I don't know what is going on with this disastrous situation. Ugh. I'm still trying to find the last of the programs I need to switch over to Linux, so I don't gotta deal with Windows anymore. Okay. Aw, is he being a good little angel?
No, he's not.
Aw. Maybe I should sing. Oh, wait, that'll make matters worse. So, for those who are here, Dee cannot talk a lot or loudly because she has the littlest of the family, and he is just right now being a semi good boy. We're going to give it some time, see what happens.
Yeah, just wait. He was asleep, but then he woke up.
Aw. Well, us listening and laughing about politics may not be the best thing.
True.
Oh, we're going to have to behave ourselves today, aren't we?
No, he doesn't know any better yet.
Oh, and this video did not update for some reason. Okay, that title is now fixed. I apologize to everyone. We are running late. There was a massive headache with Rumble. It's been giving me some grief today. That's why I am itching to switch over to Linux, but I've got to make sure I have all the programs I need to do live streaming carried over with me. So that requires me to find my VR cam because Animaze, the VR cam I use, does not work with Linux. It is not supported in any way, fashion, or form. And it's a little bit frustrating for me. So I am on the hunt for programs that will allow me to use my VR cam with Linux. So I hear shushing, and I know it's not me, but I'm really refraining from having fun with that. Um, why are we doing this to me today? Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. You mother fudger, my hands. I apologize, folks. I will be getting started in just a minute. Usually I have the intro music going here so y'all don't um, see or hear my crazy ass. But here we are, and as you can see, my avatar moves today because I decided it was a great idea to open up my cam and let it move with me. Um, no, this. Okay. Oh, and I got to send this out on X and Truth Social. I am trying to get a hang on this, guys. Be patient with me. Please be patient with me. Um, oh, little guy's being a cutie. Oh, I hear him. He's getting a little fussy wussy. I am so glad my oldest is 21 and my youngest is 20. I do not have to fully take care of a child anytime soon.
Hmm. Well, this is fun.
Oh, it is. Babies are the best. They really, truly are. Um, I love them. I love babies. I'm just glad I'm not having any more.
Yeah.
So, um,
He's fighting sleep so much, it's funny.
oh, he doesn't want to go to sleep, but he needs to. His little body needs the rest. It needs that rest. Little guy. All right. What are we doing? Do we want to cover Fetterman's gun incident or do we want to cover his law, his
Let's
time in,
do, yeah, let's do, why don't you do the laws first and then we'll look at the gun incident. Maybe he'll be asleep by then.
and then we'll also have the other two articles
Okay.
to go over because we went over the videos yesterday. And who's next on our list after him? We already did Mike Pence. Oh, there's a video of George Soros and how he got to be into a powerful position.
Oh, that's
And then I have some local, like different states, their politicians being horrible as possible. And we're still pulling together stuff for Maxine Waters. And I've got a ton on Nancy Pelosi, but I'm probably going to do those two separately because Maxine Waters goes all the way back to the O.J. Simpson trials.
right. What
So,
about Mitch
yeah.
McConnell?
Oh, yeah, we got to do Mitch McConnell too. I don't have anything pulled up for him yet.
We probably should do
Um,
Lindsey Graham too.
oh, yeah, we're going to have to do that. That's on our to do list. So, we're going to start off with Fetterman and things that he has done in Congress since he was elected in 2023. Let's take a He has only sponsored 58 legislative things. Oh, he's only written or participated with 58 bills, co-sponsored 598. So in 2 years, that's not horrible. He's putting some work into it. So there is a bill to prohibit commercial sexual orientation conversion therapy and for other purposes. Basically none of those camps for kids who are gay and the parents want to convert them back to straight. A bill to amend Title 38, the United States Code, to modify authorities relating to the collective bargaining of employees in the Veterans Health Administration. That actually sounds like a good bill. I don't like Tammy Duckworth, but that's actually something that's worth it, in my personal opinion. Um, let's see what's next on here. A bill to amend the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 to repeal particular work requirements that disqualify able bodied adults for eligibility to participate in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program and for other purposes. So that's interesting because the Food and Nutrition Act is basically the updated version of food stamps. Um, and that is a very limited thing by income and your ability to work and stuff like that and having kids. I bet this is probably for underemployment more than it is for, oh, the text is not available. Damn it. I hate when they do this. Okay, let's go back and keep reading some more that he's working on. Um,
What are you doing? Hmm?
a bill to establish in the Department of Homeland Security a working group relating to countering terrorist, cybersecurity, border and port security, and transportation security threats posed to the United States by the Chinese Communist Party. Good for him. Oh, I don't want to be too loud. Sorry, I don't
You
want
be
my.
loud. He's up.
I'm so sorry. I don't want to wake him
No,
up.
he's up. He's up. It's no problem.
Okay. He
I don't
also
want him
co
screaming.
sponsored a bill to support the national defense and economic security of the United States by supporting vessels, ports, and shipyards of the United States and the U.S. maritime workforce. Wow, he is really pro America.
Yeah.
Just reading these. A bill to amend and consolidate Appropriations Act of 2023 to expand the replacement of stolen EBT benefits. So people who were illegally on food stamps, he's helping get this stuff back.
Right.
Rumble is down, but it shows Rumble now if the app. JJ, I am having the same problem. Hey, Brent, I didn't see you pop in,
Hi,
but
guys.
JJ, you should have seen me trying to get it the just to get this started. I ended up restarting my PC, thought it was that, everything like that. It has been a nightmare. Um, so okay. Oh yes, I know this account now. I get it. I remember this account. So um I don't know what's going on with Rumble. So precious of baby being with wrecked sisters. That it is.
Oh, thank you very much. Just wait though, he hasn't started screaming.
Tickle his foot. Watch what happens.
Oh, yeah, I know already.
But Fetterman seems to be really pro America and consolidating appropriations of benefits that were stolen. Like, and that's when, oh, he sponsored that. He
Mm-hmm.
wrote that on April
Hmm.
30th. Okay, as much as he may have been bad before the stroke, I'm liking what I see here, D.
Well,
I get it. You don't trust him, but I like what I see here.
right.
A bill to amend Title 10 of the United States Code to modify the minimum capital investment for certain depots of the Department of Defense and other purposes. Another one he wrote from March 30th. I mean, April 30th. Oh my God, I'll learn to talk. A bill to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to support the national defense and economic security of the United States by supporting vessels, ports. Oh, that one. That was that Mark Kelly one again. Um,
Where you going?
JJ says, I'm on. Oh, oh, D is on babysitting duty. Yes, she is.
Wait, this
Yes.
is going to be JJ for the next 3 years. Would It's not babysitting duty, it's raising baby duty
Yeah,
for the
that's
next
true.
3 years till he can start preschool. Lord help me. Let us pray.
I don't like this bill that he agreed to with Adam Schiff, a
But
bill to regulate assault weapons to ensure that the right to keep and bear arms is not unlimited and for other purposes. No, that one he can take and shove it where the sun don't shine.
Lulu. What?
Oh, I hear him. I
What?
hear the baby. You know, I'm gonna be talking to the baby through you
Well,
as much
Lord,
as I'm reading this stuff.
today
It
I'm
is
gonna
so
let
precious.
today I'm gonna let him scream until I my mute, and then uh, during the summertime or whatever, I'll be muted when he's up or about. But
Yeah,
hopefully I'll have him napping when I get a hold of him and he gets on my schedule. So he
yeah.
should take like a 2 hour afternoon nap around now. But right now he's fussy. He's fussy. He's fussy. I give you kisses. I give you kisses.
Art says Fetterman sounds like a more traditional Democrat. Maybe he always was, and after the stroke, he just stopped playing the woke crap. That is possible.
Mm,
But I do know strokes can massively change personalities too.
yeah.
So,
The only yeah, my thing is what he did to Braddock, and he really decimated the town. And we'll get into that with the articles that we have.
yeah, I'm going to jump over to those because resource for victims of gun violence, that's actually a pretty good thing to put together. Except I don't like him restricting my right to bear arms. I should be
Right.
allowed to have a cannon or a tank if I so choose. Just saying. Um, so let's jump into Fetterman's gun incident. It rattles black Democrats in Pennsylvania. This is his actions in 2013. John Fetterman said he heard what sounded like gunfire and saw a man running away. So he reacted by getting his kids inside to safety before calling. He called 911. Sounds like when I had someone running around my house, pounding on all my windows, and hollered for the kids to get in the closets while I pulled out all the guns that I owned and got into a position where I could cover the front and back door at the same time. Um, you know, Reasonable response. And oh yeah, I did call 911. Don't worry. It just took them 3 hours to show up. Um so what Fetterman did next, however, still haunts him 9 years later as he campaigned for the Democratic nomination for Senate in Pennsylvania. He chased a man down with a shotgun and detained him until police arrived. Um isn't that what most people do?
No, he ran down the street at the guy was jogging.
Okay, but
He ran down the
he's
street after him with a shotgun.
I probably would have done the same thing.
Mm,
If I heard gunfire and I saw someone running, I would have an initial response, but I would also be asking questions and not pointing the gun at him unless there was a reason to. I don't see too much wrong with that.
there's a lot
Um,
wrong with it. I wish I would have had the news videos that went with it about how bad it was.
I can research it. I can
Yeah,
pull them up while we're here today.
yeah.
It turned out the man was jogging
All
and
right,
wearing
all
running
right.
clothes, according to the police report. The man was unarmed and said the sound of gunfire was actually fireworks, although two witnesses thought they heard shots. So he wasn't the only one who thought they heard gunshots. And a jogging person could be easily mistaken for someone who just fired a gun and was fleeing the scene.
Yeah, I've seen that on some police programs where they've gotten the wrong victim who just happened to be jogging.
The
But
wrong criminal or
yeah,
suspect.
that
Sorry.
suspect, but then they get sued for racial profiling.
Oh, but the man who Fetterman pulled the gun on is black. And if it had been a white man, would it have made the news?
Probably not.
Would he have been haunted by this if it was a white man that he did this to?
I don't know.
And see, that's where I don't necessarily think he was absolutely in the wrong or out of his mind for responding the way he did. I don't play cop. If you're not an immediate threat to me, you can run as fast as you want as long as it's away from me. I understand that. Well, like, even in my circumstance, I wasn't going out into my yard to look for a confrontation because there were 4 kids in my house, ranging from the age of 4 to 14. So, I definitely was not running out to the yard to see what was going on, but I sure had the kids ready with a plan and what to do in as I'm getting all this together. It happens so fast, you don't even realize how fast you are talking, how fast you are moving. I mean, within a minute, I had orders barked at the kids as I was dialing 911 and pulling guns out of the safe, not including the one I had on me. So I was pulling out the 410 and a backup handgun that I had that wasn't as reliable. But the 410 was the first line of defense, 9mm was the backup. And it just, you know, when it's happening and your kids are at risk, you respond a whole hell of a lot different than if you were home alone or it was just you. If it was just me, I'd call in the shots. I've also been well trained and I've carried a gun for around 40 years. Yeah. I grew up around hunting, fishing, wildlife, you again, if it wasn't for the kids being there, I would have just reported I heard someone was pounding on my windows and I have a gun ready. If I honestly, I probably would have just opened the window and told him to get the fuck out of my yard before I start shooting. But again, if it depending on how close the shots are, there's been more than once I've told my kids to hit the deck. Like get down, I hear shots,
I'll be back.
and
Somebody messed their pants.
oh, was it
I'm
you?
right here listening though.
You missed it. Okay. Um, but no, and again, this is where I don't think necessarily he's completely irrational if he's trying to protect his neighborhood. He didn't look and see, he didn't necessarily see the race of the person. He just saw someone running and he pinned him down till the cops could get there. Citizens arrest is a very common thing. It still happens more often than people give credit for. Citizens arrest is something we're allowed to do. If you if you see someone commit a crime or they're fleeing the scene of a crime, you actually have the right to intercept while on the phone with 911 unless they have a weapon, in which case that would be stupid to do. But there was a mass shooting that was prevented because a woman stepped up and took out the shooter as he was setting up in a park. It's like he's setting up his angle in a park. She stumbled across him, took him out, and the cops are like, "Congratulations, here's an award." I don't think Fetterman was out of his mind here. I think he was reacting instinctively how a parent would. I can tell you for a fact, my dad has busted out the front door with a shotgun before. My dad did not hesitate. I'm telling you, I guess I don't know. Everybody responds differently to these circumstances. I'm not saying he was right or wrong. I want to learn more about this. But why are they making it about race? That's what I want to know. So back to the article. And again, there were other witnesses that thought they heard shots. Um, you guys would not play cop. If it comes down to protecting my family and my neighbors that I'm close to, I'm gonna pin someone's ass down and call the cops on them. Um, More than likely, if I'm not gonna have a weapon pointed at them per se. You cannot chase someone unless the crime was committed in your presence. Citizen's arrest doesn't work based on what you thought. Thinking works for cops. Citizens have actually see the crime. Okay, so there is a little bit more to it. Um, but again, if it's my family, I'm not playing anything. Yeah, and that's kind of like my circumstance. And again, Fetterman hears gunshots. He's chasing down who he
Who he
thinks is
thinks
the
is the
suspect.
suspect.
Oh, hi. I see
Hold
your
on.
ceiling.
Yeah, as you see the ceiling, I'm trying to get the baby, but I don't think I can get him. Do I got him?
Nope. There. Oh, we got his eye. We got a little bit of a face.
Which way? Left or right, up or down?
Um, if your camera's inverted, it'll be a problem, but move towards the right a little. There we
Towards
go.
the right.
Okay, so it's not inverted. Oh, now down so we can get his face. There he is. There's the cutie pie. There's the little JJ. He's now famous.
Yep,
He's going to get us thousands of views just
I
because
hope
he
so.
exists. He's so
Yep,
cute. He's our new co-host, right,
there you
JJ?
go.
You the new
Stay for the
co-host?
till I'm three. Say,
Are
wait
you
till
our
I start.
third? Aw, he's so cute.
He's
Absolutely
fascinated with
adorable.
ceiling fans for some reason.
Because they spin.
Well, it's not spinning, but he likes looking at it for some reason.
Oh, he's a curious little kiddo.
Yep.
So Fetterman, we're gonna get back to the article. So Fetterman at the time was 52 years old, pulled a gun on the man they say the man Fetterman pulled the gun on is black. They had to make sure that distinction is there. And yes, he got the wrong person. It probably scared the bejesus out of him.
Yep.
But I I hear shots and I see a person running. It's gonna be a little bit alarming. Precious baby JJ should get all the glory. We need to set up a camera. We need to get you a webcam where
Okay.
it just shows him and we have his camera up as a second camera
Okay.
and we put his cute little butt up here all the
And
time.
maybe we'll get up to our 300 views, 300 subscribers that we need on YouTube, right?
Yeah, we can go from there. Oh,
Mm.
but the cannabis is in. Hey, cannabis.
Hi, Cannabis. How you doing?
And for some reason, the Rumble chat is not showing up in the stream. I don't know what's going on, but I'm glad I have it. So, cannabis, I will read out your comments to, I don't know, whoever needs them. I don't know what's going on with Rumble today. It's just being weird. So across the state, Democrats who worked with black voters and are neutral in May 17th primary fault Fetterman's actions and explanations thus far, and they worry that attacks on him over the incident could depress African American turnout in November. Well, I don't think it did because he got voted in.
Correct.
And oddly, they same people who voted him in voted for Trump. Okay, so definitely probably not racist. So where did I leave off? The turnout in November in its two biggest urban areas, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. A must for the Democrats to carry the Commonwealth. I live in a Commonwealth as well. They're not all they're cracked up to be, but we're gonna let that go. Um, there's good and bad with them. Um, sorry. Rumble was down earlier. Yeah, it's been giving me hell all day, cannabis. I'm telling you. Um, so you know what? I need to move this over. I need to be able to see that chat. I gotta switch this over. I apologize, folks. I'm just rearranging my monitor. Um, so I attacked the gun violence problem with Braddock, and we succeeded, Fetterman said Thursday on stage, emphasizing that there were no gun deaths in the high crime borough for more than 5 of his 13 years as mayor. Is that accurate?
Roughly, he the town was huge, as I had told you before. You know, Pittsburgh was a huge steel town, and once Pittsburgh Steel left, all of the surrounding little boroughs and everything just got decimated. All right, it's okay. Come here, come here. And there remained probably, I think, around 4,000 people were left in the town of Braddock, and 40% of them were African American. 35% of those were under the poverty line. His wife Giselle created like a little, uh, say, boutique where they sold used clothes and things of that nature. But she has always been tied into something's always been going on with her. Uh,
Mhm.
they never really have been able to pinpoint anything on her, but there's always been rumors about her. She was one of the ones that did the big push for Fetterman getting into office, and especially after he had the stroke, they had talks about her taking his place
I
as,
remember that.
as senator. Uh, so he he came from an extremely wealthy family, so the job at Braddock paid very, very little, um, and his family funded everything that he did.
Oh,
So,
wow.
oh yeah, came from a very wealthy family. Uh, so he wanted to be the big politician, so he pretty much took Braddock, and out of the 13 years he was there, he pretty much ran what was left into the ground. It's a sad sight. It really is. I know the areas around the steel mill. Well, I know Pittsburgh very well, so
Yeah.
It's sad. It's a very sad situation for all of them. You know, all of these little boroughs that are around. It just so happens Fetterman, well, he left there and he became lieutenant governor. So
Okay.
that was another thing, was how the hell did he pull that off? But again, he had funding in that with his family. I'm not sure if he had Soros backing or not, but after the lieutenant governorship, they talked about him running for governor, but then Toomey decided, the chicken shit that he was, Republican, he decided he was going to retire, and then it was Fetterman and Oz that went toe to toe, and Fetterman won.
Yeah, and I still like again. Art's right on the. It sounds like small community politics. That just got taken to the next level, and a lot of the Democrats fail up the ladder.
Correct.
We've seen it
Yeah,
everywhere.
everywhere. If you would take a look at what Pittsburgh is, I mean,
Yeah,
if, uh, I can't even talk about that. It's so damn sad, and it truly is how the Democrats have decimated the city. Uh,
and
when
that's why I really think the stroke changed who he was
well, I did,
because
yeah, I did tell you when I worked for them that I was a Republican, and it wasn't until I got to Public Works that my boss was big into politics with the mayor. And when they found out that I was a Republican, they told me I either had to switch parties or I was going to lose my job. So I
that's illegal.
switched. I know it
That's
is.
illegal.
So I switched to become a Democrat, and then they made me become a door knocker, which is that is you go around to different areas, people's houses, and you try to get them to vote for the candidates that they want
How
vote
do you
for.
get someone to vote for something you don't believe in?
Well, I wanted to keep a job. Then from there, they had me go become committee woman, and I had to run against other people, and I won the committee womanship. And then when we moved, the woman that took my place, she ended up becoming a city councilwoman. And I often wonder if I would have stayed, if I would have ran for city council as a Democrat, but really was a hidden Republican.
Oh,
Uh,
you would have never gotten elected.
but
They would have booted you out of the party like they're about to do to
yeah,
Fetterman, as we discussed.
but I told you that I'd have to make phone calls. There were 8 divisions. I'd make a phone call. All the supervisors would come in. They would all get a. What did I do with your pacifier? They'd all come in, get envelopes, and they'd have to sell $1,000 worth of tickets. And if they didn't sell them, they had to buy them. And
Oh, hell no.
oh yeah, and then that went on, and then my boss got into a huge amount of trouble. They moved him from being a director out into the field, and then they fired him. And then he was calling me in the office saying, I want you to get this, I want you to get that. And I said no, and he flipped out on me. It was bad. It was really ugly. And then after I was out here where we're at now, he ended up. It was
Uh-huh.
so bad. He went to jail for several years.
Oh,
He went to
wow.
jail. We had a city councilman went to jail for frickin' uh, you know, conspiring with
Corruption
other. Yep.
nonsense.
Stuff he shouldn't have been doing. I mean, it's truly unbelievable the stuff that goes on. It really is.
I'm honestly not surprised. Small towns are horrible. I
Well,
like this. D could have been a dino and play the same game as the rhinos,
uh,
Democrat in name only.
I like that. I could have D the Dino. That would have been interesting, huh?
It would
Yeah,
have been.
yeah. And you know what's funny? What's sad is I still have okay, okay. I still have friends that work there, And to
Mhm.
think that, you know, they're going to get ready to retire and stuff. Uh, huh, unbelievable.
Yeah, early retirement due to health is a very terrible thing. I hate it.
But it all worked out for the best, though. You know, they
Mhm.
came in one day and 150 of us got laid off. We were all mid managers. Everybody above us was a political appointee. Everybody below us belonged to a union. So the mayor had died, and the councilwoman who was the president became mayor. She just about bankrupted the city. That's how bad it was. So that's why they did a huge layoff, and it we've never recovered since then. The city's never. I mean, the city has done some good things, build up some things, but yet, you know, I was just down there a couple weeks ago. It was as bad, if not worse, as when I was down there last year. Tents are pitched on the highway. Tents are pitched under bridges. Uh, the homeless people, the population. It's sad. You know,
Mhm.
I used to be able to walk from uptown to the lower part and back and forth. Shit, I wouldn't walk there now without some type of weapon on me, uh, or without having EJ with me. That's how scary it is.
Yeah, and I get that. And again, that's like me even in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah,
I will still use a I'll still conceal carry
right,
because it's the only thing that actually makes any freaking sense to do because I don't trust people. I
right,
mean, after living in the city for so long, you lose that faith in people.
right. Yep, sad,
So,
very sad.
um, I was gonna go on reading. Fetterman went to on to explain that he made a split second decision to intercept the man until our first responders arrived as Braddock's chief law enforcement officer and as the mayor. Oh, that again, because he's the mayor. I mean, he technically does he have the right to do this? Fetterman's suggestion that he was acting according to the law are a new talking point that stands in contrast to his initial comments about the 2013 incident. He's not shooting straight on this, no pun intended. Just fess up and apologize, says Michael Nutter. Is that how it's pronounced?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Um, Philadelphia's last black mayor who served until 2016. How did he serve until? Oh, because Fetterman got removed.
Right.
That's she's oh Pete's. All this other stuff that he was the chief law enforcement officer or that he didn't know the guy was black just didn't really sound like he just doesn't really sound like that is worded in the worst way possible. Doesn't really sound like he wants to tell the truth. Who is neutral in the Senate primary. Yeah, sure. I'm not helping him. It's not helping him, figuratively speaking. He's shooting himself in the foot, and he doesn't have to. It's an issue of national importance, and the dude and others argue because Pennsylvania is a swing state with an open Senate seat that could decide control of the evenly divided chamber of Congress in November. Um, in the city, I carried because of gangs, etc. In the carry, I carry because of the possibility of running into drug labs and pot growers. In my area, we have deer that like to stroll down Main Street. That's how small our town is. Okay, we're coming. We're literally in town, and there are freaking deer eating grass out of the little grassy mid barrier things in the middle of the parking lots. You
Right.
know, the little grass islands.
Right.
Deer come in and eat out of our grocery stores parking lots. That's how small we are. Coyotes come through, mountain lions come through. I always carry. A 9 millimeter ain't going to do much against a mountain lion, but it's better than nothing. So, yeah. And coyotes, you better pray you're fast and your aim is true with that handgun. Rifles, you at least have better aim, just not the speed.
Well, I told,
So,
yeah, I told you about the bear that came down. He hung around for 3 days.
yep. So, even in the country,
Yep.
we very much need to still carry
And
or
that,
have guns around.
and that whole crap where you call the game commission and they come with that barrel to haul them away.
Nope, that don't work unless they've actually attacked a person.
Right. He said to us, just be careful when you go outside. We were like, okay, that sounds good.
Well, I've told you before, and I sent you the pictures, I believe, back when my dad had that black bear cub come through his yard. Last spring, I think it was. And then a few years back, he had a big black bear that he called Fred. We're talking like a decade back. Fred was notorious for visiting my dad's land. JJ, 12 gauge, 4570, or a, is that a BM 450? Yeah. Those are what you need for some of the critters in my neighborhood. And I'm not joking. I've walked out of the Walmart. This was 20 years ago when my son was born. I walked out of Walmart with some groceries and I see a freaking mountain lion walking across the field next to the parking lot. So my town had one stoplight. After three residents died, the county removed the stoplight. That's, I know what it's like to be in that small of a place. I like, yeah, I think I've said it before. My entire county has 20,000 people. My entire county. That's how small this place is. And I think we're the biggest town in the county. And yeah, it's that small. We still have deer stroll in and eat from people's yards. And it's like, damn, one good shot. Nobody's nearby. And with the 410, and it's a hollow point, so it's going to balloon. It's not going to go through the deer. Oh, we could have venison, but it's totally illegal because you can't fire within town limits unless it's an emergency. So, um, but yeah, I've seen some nice sized does. It's like, damn, we could eat for like 6 months. Lots of jerky. Nope. So, yeah, I think we have three stoplights in town. We have three. Our town spans 5 miles. It's a very spread out town. Um, and it is tiny. JJ says, I once had a work project in Helena, MT, um,
Montana.
Montana, at a VA hospital, and deer were grazing on the VA property. Yes, I use an air rifle, very quiet. Yeah, but it doesn't exactly take the deer down either, unless you can get that eye shot and it goes straight through just right. And you're still more likely just going to blind the deer and it'll take off running. 410's relatively small, not super high power. I could take out a deer with it within 100 yards, give or take. And I mean, my eyesight's decent enough that if I can see the broad side of a deer and I can see there is nobody there and I know I'm not going to miss, but no, nope, sheriff won't have it. Oh, yes, they do. Oh, they're, and see, I'm thinking the air rifles from like the early 90s. What are you guys putting in them that are this powerful now? I'm curious. Now I'm curious. What are you all doing with the air rifles? Art says the deer just nap on the lawn when not eating and the apple, yep. Yep. Same thing. Oh, JJ's is finally coming through on. Okay, thank you for dual posting, JJ. Some air rifles are more powerful than a real gun. Shit. I'm going to have to start looking into air rifles now. Truly curious. Okay, back to what we were supposed to be doing. Why are we carrying on this conversation? I'm supposed to be talking about Fetterman. Sorry. But this is again like I mean the whole point is, carrying the gun. If I could get a gun rack for in my truck, my 410 would be going with us everywhere because I don't trust the animals around here. I really don't trust the animals around here. So I've been looking to get one of the gun racks for the truck, for the Escalade, and have it ready. But oh, I gotta refinish the frickin' barrel. That's right. I stripped it down trying to get rid of some rust, and I got to refinish the barrel. Son of a gun. Down the road. Why am yeah. Back to the regular scheduled programming. Yes. Thank you for just letting me run on for a minute. Um, but about 11% of the state voters are black. Oh, nope, here we are. If you think black voters didn't turn out for Hillary Clinton because she called people super predators, but you think that a white guy pulling a shotgun on a black guy won't have an effect in the context of post George Floyd?
Hmm.
No. 2013 was pre George Floyd.
I'll be
Post
right
George
back,
Floyd,
Steve. I'll be
yep.
right back.
Post George Floyd, he still got voted in. So this article, all the way back in 2022, was basically just to slander him. This article is just basically to slander him. Biden's margin of victory in the state was about 80,000 votes in November of 2020. In contrast, Clinton lost by 44,000 in 2016. And she had apologized for her super predator remark, a sign that contrition might not be enough anyway. Well, no, people didn't vote for Hillary because she's nuts. Um, like I didn't vote for Hillary. I would love to see a woman in office. I'm not voting for the first one that runs. You're out of your mind if you think that's the case. So well, actually she wasn't the first woman to run. I take that back. There was an incident in the 1800s, if I remember correctly, where a woman ran for presidency, but Hillary Clinton was the most famous of the women who have ran. Anyways, after his encounter with the black jogger, Fetterman acknowledged to a Pittsburgh television station that he might have broken the law by chasing the man with a gun. Fetterman at the time didn't mention anything about being chief law enforcement officer. Um, Hold on, I just saw another one. Yeah, I know Amazon has them. Yep, they carry them. I've been keeping an eye on the price because my broke butt and I'm a cheapskate. I look for the clearance ones and the high quality ratings. If I don't have to pay $100 for something and I can get away with paying 70 or 50, you can bet your happy ass I'm going for that lower price. So yeah, I've got quite a few lined up on Amazon that I've been watching. I've been meaning to buy one. Um, the admission of possible wrongdoing in 2013 doesn't square with his talking points now, said Fawn Walker Montgomery, a black politician consultant of the former city council member of McKeesport. I'm sorry if I butcher this, Pennsylvania, near Braddock. Walker Montgomery hasn't endorsed a candidate in the primary. Um, he wasn't the chief law enforcement officer. That insults our intelligence. He was a white man with a gun chasing a black man. And here y'all are making it racist. Not he was chasing someone he thought was shooting a gun in his neighborhood. Ugh. Again, it's all about the wording and presentation of the circumstance. Um, I used to be on the council in McKeesport, and if I chased after a person with a gun, I'd still be in jail.
Who
That
was?
depends on the circumstance.
Are you reading that from the article?
Yeah,
Okay, about McKeesport.
yeah.
So, the issue is there are so many little areas in the city that are uh, African American, and so high crime, guns, drugs, prostitution. So would
Mhm.
that mean that, you know, the council person or whomever of that area would be permitted to take a gun and just start walking down the street because they were looking for somebody or what?
Actually, that's not unheard of.
Yeah.
When towns have gotten way out of control,
Mm-hmm.
the local and the state won't help with it. The local sheriffs and stuff. Actually, there was one down here in Tennessee where the local sheriff and everyone and all the politicians were so corrupt. Veterans took the city back
Mm-hmm.
or took the town back. It is not unheard of. There was a whole shootout, like 100 and something people ended up dead or wounded by the end, all because of the corruption and nothing was getting done.
Well, there are city police, county police, sheriffs, state police.
They all have jurisdictions, so it depends on
Exactly.
which one. State
Exactly.
and sheriff are for outskirts of actually state is for all the areas between town and city jurisdictions.
Correct.
So, I mean, and again, if the cops are already on their way and he's already chasing the guy, or did he chase the guy and then call the cops? I mean,
I don't recall the entire story. We'd have to pull some
yeah.
uh, news footage, which I didn't do because I
The
got
mayor is not generally a sworn peace officer under state law, so he's not that sort of officer. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, I've heard of cases where, you know, again, we've lived out in the middle of frickin' nowhere. We have to sit on a person until the cops show up or the sheriff shows up.
right,
Have no choice but to sit on them. If they're on your land, you have the right to literally do that, and the police get there and they take them from there. If you have to chase them down your driveway, you do so. That's just that's the way I'm used to seeing things done.
right,
Like shit, you either get off my land before I get to you, or you're going to be sitting here waiting for the cops with the handcuffs.
right.
And actually, cannabis, you're right. Sheriffs are the top of the police food chain, basically. Because they're elected officials. They actually have more say over your local police departments and even the feds. The federal agents have to get permission from the sheriffs to come into your area. If so the problem is he doesn't have the authority to chase anyone. He's not a cop. That's true. So he was probably in the wrong on this. I just would tell you that instinct, I would be doing the same thing till they get off my property. At least chase them off the property or pin them down. It was going to be one of the two. And I don't know if I would necessarily chase him down the road. Now, some jackass comes jumping my back fence or something, and he's looking suspicious. You can bet I'm going to have a gun ready and be like, "Who the hell are you? And what are you doing?" I mean, that happens. So, oh, little guy fussy again.
Oh, he
I
doesn't
hear him.
want me to hold him. That's what he wants. Come here.
Oh, time for a little self soothing lessons.
Oh, what? What? Huh? It's okay. Oh. Oh, come on. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so a spokesman from Fetterman campaign said he started using the term chief law enforcement officer last year to push back against opponents like Kenyatta. I hope I pronounced that right. As they accused him of acting like a vigilante. Well, I would say he was probably acting on that. But so did Batman. No one complained about Batman. Well, actually, some did. But, anyways, last,
I never
his
saw
camp.
that in my town.
His campaign also said he didn't invent the term in relation to his duties as mayor, but pointed out that Pennsylvania Association of Boroughs mayor uses the wording in a handbook to describe the duties of the office. Fetterman backers say he's being unfairly singled out. Um, I'm offended as a black social worker who worked side by side when Fetterman was mayor, that this was his opponents. This is what his opponents are talking about, said Lisa Freeman, a longtime supporter of citizens criticized a longtime supporter who criticized Lamb for living in a wealthy neighborhood and said Kenyatta hasn't done enough to stop crime in North Philadelphia, where he lives.
Well, see,
Ooh, so there is some pushback.
that's the other issue is Connor Lamb, who comes from a wealthy family again, who is backed by his family. He is a congressman for Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got the money, they've been getting in.
Okay. John was the mayor of Braddock, a majority minority community. So more often than not, a person running down the street would be black, she said. Mayor Fetterman had barely a police department, barely a fire department. He had a police scanner he listened to. And when anything happened, a shooting, a fire, he was on hand. Now, is that accurate that there wasn't a major police force to chase the guy down?
There was supposedly an extreme, like one or two people. The town was so decimated. The town was so decimated that they had almost nothing, that they were relying on state police.
Okay. I've been in towns like that.
Mm,
And that means good luck. Someone will get there eventually.
exactly.
I literally have lived in those places. I can see why he might have done what he did.
Mm-hmm.
I do see some logic to it, whether it was legal or not, put aside. I'm just saying, logically, I see why he would do this. I mean, again, like I said, I lived in the city. Someone's pounding on my walls and windows and doors, and it took 3 hours for the cops to show up because some damn house exploded down the road.
Right.
I mean, it's like it's a tough one to say whether I support what he did or not. And again, if I was in his shoes, I very well may have responded the same way. And it's not even about a race thing or anything like that, but simply because I swear I heard a gunshot, I need to investigate, and it's going to take forever for the cops to get here. And at that point, the crime may never be solved. And yeah, and I know if you chase someone down with a gun, we'd be facing charges. Yeah. And that's again one of those things, but sometimes out here in the middle of nowhere, it's all there is until the sheriff shows up 45 minutes later because you're 40 minutes out of town but still in the town's jurisdiction, or you're on some back road that he can only go 5 miles per hour down without damaging the vehicle. I mean, you should see some of the roads down here. Like I'll have to send pictures. I'll have to put up pictures on the Discord server of how narrow and dangerous some of these roads are. Cops cannot drive fast down them. You're on a backcountry road. You cannot do 55 because guess what? It is too narrow and too curvy. You're risking flipping your vehicle down a ravine where we live. It could take the sheriff, if he can only do 35 going down the back road with his lights on
Mm-hmm.
because the roads are so bad, God knows how long it's going to take. It's just really a messed up. The question is up to the jury. Yeah. Now, and again, he's in a town. I don't think it's one of those ones that's as far out like what mine is by the sounds of it. But yeah, I mean, if what they're saying is true, it does lead to further questions. So, but her predecessor, Mayo Sherade Jones, who succeeded Fetterman after he was elected lieutenant governor in 2018, said she's supporting Kenyatta because she objected to Fetterman's leadership styles, describing it more focused on getting national media attention and winning higher office. So it was his step in the ladder, and he didn't really care about the people, which makes sense because, that's a typical Democrat. At 6'8", damn, he's tall. Bald headed and tattooed, Fetterman, a Harvard educated white mayor. See, why do they keep pulling up the race thing? We know it. For fudge's sake, shut up. Won acclaim as the hands-on community-based blue-collar progressive, guaranteeing him more consistent national attention than other small-town mayors. And again, if he's showing up at these things, these accidents, these fires, these stuff like this, he's putting in the effort. I don't know. Banking on his name recognition, the campaign hopes he can straddle the worlds of black voters and white progressives and more conservative voters in rural parts of the state where Democrats have hemorrhaged support in recent elections. Well, yeah, most people in the rural areas do not vote Democrat.
Well,
Why would they?
yeah,
Y'all screw us over every chance you get.
yeah. In Pennsylvania, the only reason that the Dems typically win is they got Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Scranton, and then there's a little town uh, up near the Great Lakes called Erie, Pennsylvania.
I've
It's
no area. I know Erie, Pennsylvania. I've been
yeah.
there.
So they Erie's usually the one that tips the votes.
Hmm. His critics wonder whether Fetterman's reluctance to apologize over the gun incident isn't a play for electability in November, or he felt what he did was called for and does not feel the need to apologize for it. That's a possibility as well. He just doesn't feel bad for what he did because he felt it was justified. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, you know what? You might have felt that it was justified at the time, but after the fact, when he knew he had the wrong guy, an apology was warranted. You
Uh,
know, I'm sorry I pulled a gun on you. You know what I mean? The guy had to be scared shitless. Come on.
what good is an apology if you don't mean it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he would have meant it or not, but I'm just saying he should have apologized, and he should have had some type of meaning behind it.
And see, yeah, morally from that standpoint, but I've also been one who raised my kids never apologize unless you mean it. Otherwise, it's a lie.
Right.
So,
So,
yeah, I, I,
yeah.
I mean, morally, I don't like lying. It, politically, it would have been a smart move.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to morals and his own personal opinion, what good is an apology if you don't mean it? To me, him not apologizing just shows his true character. He chooses not to lie just for political gain. He'll run a place to the ground for political gain, but at least he won't lie about it.
Right.
I mean, that's just the way I'm seeing it from an outside perspective. And also, like I said, putting my personal bias, and I've acknowledged my personal bias the entire time. So just, something to kick around, per se. He's acting like he's going to win the primary and he doesn't need us. Well, he did run the primary, didn't he? Kind of funny how that worked. Here they are insisting this was going to hurt him. It was not going to help him. He would never get elected. And here we are down the road. He most certainly got elected. And they're even more pissed at him because he ain't running with all the nonsense that's over the top. So As much as he may have been an asshole and pushing the bounds of the law, I don't I don't see much difference in him from where he's at now. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't
I'll
see
be
any
back.
difference. All right. As soon as he entered the Senate race in February of 2021, New York Times delved into the gun incident, and it has been chronicled in national and state media since then. Months after Fetterman declared his candidacy, the jogger, Christopher Myers, if I'm pronouncing that right, told the Pennsylvania Inquirer that Fetterman lied about everything because Fetterman knew he was black and pointed the gun at him. Fetterman has denied that account. Um, an apology may gain you some support of people can understand why you did what you did, even though it was a mistake. Yeah, but I still also hold that if you don't mean the apology, it's just a useless word. So I'd rather have them not apologize because it shows where they truly stand. And at least they're not lying about it. That's why I never demand apologies from people. I never will demand an apology. It's just a lie if they don't mean it. So I'd rather see a change in behavior. And obviously he's not chased anyone down with a gun since. So but Myers also indicated he now supports Fetterman. Wait, the dude he pulled the gun on that they're making a big deal about supports Fetterman. Even with everything I said, it is inhumane to believe one mistake should define a man's life. Okay, so why is the media blowing this shit up? The guy literally doesn't hold it against him. It was wrong, but Heidi,
Sorry about that.
did you hear that the guy he pulled the gun on ended up supporting him? He says, even with everything I said, it is inhumane to believe one mistake should define a man's life. I hope he gets to be a senator. Why is the news making this a big deal if the guy's not even mad at him?
Well, because they want to divide us by race. Isn't that what's going on right now with the knifing incident and the kids?
Yeah. And so here we have the media literally taking something that the victim of, using that word loosely here, said, I hope he gets to be a senator. And the media is making it sound like the dude's life was in danger. And that this is why I don't like the media. And I love reading the full articles. Now we have more context. The guy isn't even holding a grudge against him. So why is the media trying to make this an issue?
I don't recall if there was a lawsuit filed or not.
Let's find out. Hold on. Not that I can see.
Okay.
No. Nope. There was no lawsuit. So, yeah, if the guy didn't find it to be that big of a deal, other than it scared the bejesus out of him and it was wrong, why is the media making it sound like this is the end of the world?
As we said, they want to divide us by race.
Um, Art says, give him time. It's early in the current attack on him. They may discover new incidents involving Lordy. Oh, Lordy. Yeah, I just, you know, I'm still neutral about him, even with all this information. I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but why are they making it sound like I don't know. This to me sounds more like a hit piece than actual news. Um, I'll leave the link in the description. I'm gonna jump to the next article. Um, so on March 24th, John Fetterman told to resign in his home state newspaper. So this is an opinion piece. Um, a Pennsylvania Democrat has called for Senator John Fetterman to resign,
What year
citing his
is that,
growing alignment
Crazy
with the
B?
Republican Party.
Crazy B,
I'm
what year
sorry?
is that? What year is that?
This year.
Okay.
This is just 2025.
Hmm.
Um, so they want him to resign because he's aligning with the Republican Party. And a guest editorial published, yep, that like I said, an opinion piece published by Penn Live on March 22nd, Matt Rowan, chair of the Cumberland County Democrat Party, criticized the senator from Pennsylvania for what he described as abandonment of the Democrat values. And so this is back before this whole he's lost his mind, he's not taking his meds, let's kick him out of the Democratic Party. No, this is all boiling down to he is very much in the middle ground, basing things on what makes sense and what is best for all of his people that voted for him. I don't really have an issue with him. He sounds like an old school moderate Democrat, kind of like half my family. Yeah, I can see it. Fetterman's efforts to work with Republicans, including being the first Senate Democrat to meet Trump after his election victory, they're mad at him for trying to compromise. Sounds like he's not that bad of a guy. I mean, the stroke may have changed him, but, let's keep reading. He was met with Trump following his break with progressives on issues such as support for Israel and immigration. While this has attracted considerable criticism from progressives, he has dismissed rumors that he is considering switching parties to become a Republican. I remember when that happened, they were kicking it around.
Right.
Rowan listed several grievances he had with the senator, including Fetterman's decision in early February to vote in favor of confirming Pam Bondi. Oh, so yeah. Well, now there's a big controversy around her.
Right.
So let's
Well,
see how that pans out.
well, that was supposed to have dropped on Wednesday, and why hasn't it?
I'm not sure. I am not sure what's going on, unless it's just hype.
Yeah,
I've not seen anything definitive. We'll kind of have to wiggle it from there. And anyone could have created that video using AI. So
exactly.
I would like to see some forensic inspection of that footage. You know, finding out that
Crazy
of
B,
federal
you sound like
agencies.
a computer.
What was that?
You sound like a computer.
I do?
You did. You don't now, but you did.
Am I back? D, can you hear me? Oh, fuck. 1 minute, folks. I'll be right back. Can you hear me now? D, can you hear me? Oh, for bugger's sake. Can anyone hear me? Hold on. I gotta send a message in Discord. Oh, I think she's coming back. She'll be back. I don't know if anyone can hear me. Um, good, hear me. Okay, thank you. So now we're just waiting for Dee to come back. Um, Anywho, let me get resharing this again. Nope, wrong thing. Bloody goodness, I don't know what is going on with the electronics today. Hi, Dee, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Now I can hear you too. It's a
There we go.
miracle. Um, Let me get back to the article. All right, there we go. All right, let me line this up a little better. I don't know what was going on with the tech today. Tech just hates me with a passion right now. So, you were saying something. We were saying, oh no, I was getting started reading again. Um, so criticized Fetterman for supporting Republicans funding bill that Rowan said would enable the continued decimation of federal at the hands of Elon Musk. Again, here we are, South African billionaire. Hey, how about George Soros and Letitia James? How about George Soros and another idiot in Georgia? Hey, Shu.
Hi, Shoemaker.
Besides, Fetterman and I have the same hairstyle. Oh my lord. Okay. Um. So, yep, Elon Musk. Senator Fetterman evidently liked the idea of Doge. So obviously, he's not a corrupt politician. On the lines of, I'm getting kickbacks from these companies and stuff because he wants it to be done. Senator Fetterman has refused to hold town hall meetings in Pennsylvania to hear from his constituents. In fact, the only public event where Fetterman will face the people of the Commonwealth is a joint appearance with Senator David McCormick and his wife Diane. Oh, Dinah or Dina. Is that Dina or Dinah?
I don't know. I got a baby in my hand.
Oh, Powell, a former Trump administration official to promote a children's book written by the Republican power couple, Rowan wrote. Um, Dave McCormick and Fetterman are set to host their joint public event in Pittsburgh on March 29th, according to Axios. Um, Enough is enough, Rowan wrote. Fetterman seems disinterested in serving in in his important position. Except the people voted for Trump. Pennsylvania went red. He's doing what they wanted, working with Trump. Anyways, his actions in the Senate are actively harming Pennsylvanians. Really? D, is Senator Fetterman's actions hurting you?
You know how I feel about him.
No, but his
Although,
policies that he's
yeah,
been signing off on,
yeah,
have
his
they
policies
actively
that
hurt
he's
you?
been agreeing with on Trump, I don't have an issue with. When he stays lockstep with the Dems, I do. Because
But I'm asking, has
I don't
anything
like
he's
that.
implemented
Yeah,
caused you direct harm?
I don't know, not direct harm. Well, depends on what bill we're talking about, but uh,
Well, according to Rowan, he's actively harming Pennsylvanians. That's why I'm asking.
yeah, he the one thing with the Dems that the Republicans don't do is obviously in the House, there's not one of them that can stand alone. They're all in lockstep. Uh,
Yeah, they're a
you know,
gang. like the
exactly,
mafia.
either under Pelosi or Hakeem Jeffries now. And I think Chuck Schumer has started to lose, and Mitch McConnell, both of them started to lose what power they had. And you're starting to see some of the senators, buck the system a little bit.
Hmm. So Fetterman was one of 10 Democrats who voted with Republicans to pass the GOP backed stopgap funding bill earlier in March to avoid government shutdowns. So he's not the only other one. Where's the kicking the other 10 out or other nine? Um, a bill that was widely opposed by House Democrats. He's a senator, not a House representative. Buzz off. Who criticized it for cutting social programs. Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who supported the bill, also faced backlash from fellow Democrats. Oh, that's sad that Chuck Schumer. Oh no, Chuck Schumer. It took a minute to get him on board, if I remember correctly. Fetterman's support for Israel has also put him at odds with more progressive members of the Democratic Party. Here we go. Um, military actions in Gaza, Israel's military actions in Gaza. Um, in early March, he backed Trump's decision to strip 400 million in federal funding from Columbia University, accusing the school of allowing anti-Semitism on campus. They did. Okay, they did. Have you guys seen the videos? Um, there were some very anti-Semitic things said and done. So, and not including the destruction of the school property. Fetterman has supported Republican backed measures on immigration, including co sponsoring the Lake and Riley Act. Very good. I'm proud of him on that one. That one needed to go through, and why the other Democrats couldn't do it is beyond me. Oh, little guy passed out. Aw, he loves his Nene.
Where am I?
Aw.
Can't. I going? Yeah, I'm going this way.
There it is. There it is. There's the little cutie sleeping out. Aw. Gonna put me to sleep looking at him like that. Jeez, oh
That,
Pete, he's so
that,
adorable.
that's some big boobs. That's what it is.
Yeah.
He's hunkered in. He's hunkered down.
And you also have him by your heartbeat. And
Yep.
that is a very soothing thing as well. The speculation about Fetterman switching parties intensified after he met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago before the president's second inauguration. What's wrong with that? Anyone ever hear that saying, know thine enemy? Like, hello? Oh, I don't know. Democrats are just idiots these days. The speculation about Fetterman's I already read that inauguration. However, Fetterman publicly denied rumors during a January interview on The View. I am not going to become a Republican. I would make a pretty terrible Republican because, pro choice, pro really strong immigration, pro LGBTQ. I don't think I'd be a good fit. But not all Republicans are against that community. They just want them to not indoctrinate children. There's
Correct.
a difference.
Correct.
You go live your life. We don't care.
I
Leave
don't
my
care what.
children
Yeah, I don't care.
alone.
Yeah, leave the kids alone, and I don't care what you do in the bedroom. I
I'm
don't want to
sorry. Did
know.
I wake him
Yeah,
up? I didn't mean
that,
to wake him up.
that's okay. No, he's fine. He's fussing.
Uh,
He's
okay.
just
He
fussing.
added,
Um, yeah, I don't want to walk into Target and the first thing I see is, uh, swim trunks with, fitted bottoms. Yeah, that's right. We don't want to see that, do we? No. See, Mimi said no. All right, all right. All right, all right. That's okay.
he's like, I want to sleep. You moved and you
Yes.
spoke. How dare you?
Say, I don't smoke. Say, I've never smoked, huh?
No, you spoke. You
Spoke.
spoke.
I thought you said I smoked. No, I don't.
No, you
I've never
spoke. I
smoked.
apologize.
No, I spoke. He's like, yeah, shut up, witch. He goes, I was all cozy and now you're talking. Um, Yeah, this is going to be a fun freaking summer, let me tell you.
I enjoy every minute of it.
Uh huh. Yeah,
He
but
is
our
so
audience,
precious. He's
yeah,
going to get
but
our
our
views and our
uh huh,
subscriptions.
but our audience might not like it.
Oh, I
Um,
don't hear him complaining.
Not yet. You don't. Um, I maybe I'm not giving him enough of a chance, only because of what he's done uh, to the to the town of Braddock, and he's done some weird stuff. They claim there's a body double of him. He's gotten
I've
into
heard
arguments.
that.
There's the airplane incident where he refused to put his seatbelt on, and there's that, and that was pretty recent on the airplane, where he
Yeah.
refused to put the seatbelt
I
on.
can pull up that video on Reddit.
Yeah, and so he has some issues. I guess he's a rough guy. I mean, who do you know that's a senator that wears a hoodie? That's the other thing. I feel that he disrespects the position. Uh,
As far as I know, they don't have a dress code. Or no, they
they did
adapted the dress code for
for him.
him because of
Yep.
the stroke.
No, it wasn't because of the stroke. He did. I don't believe so. Uh, I forget what the reason was why they let that go.
I am
I think it was once they let the hijabs in for the women in Congress and the
mm,
headdress. I think that's kind of why, if I recall correctly, but don't hold me to that. I want
I
to,
wouldn't because I don't remember directly
yeah,
either. I thought
I
it was
want to
because of
say
the
it had
stroke
to
and it
do,
was
yeah,
easier.
because I believe in Congress it was you were not allowed to wear any type of headdress, and they made the exception for
The
Ilhan
Muslim
Omar.
and there was another one, I
Yeah, I
believe.
can't remember who.
I
And
think it was Rashida. No, Rashida Tlaib
no,
doesn't follow the headdress
no.
thing.
And then, so when he came in, I think that's how they got around the hoodie thing.
Yeah.
But
Art agrees with you. It's a disrespect to the office he holds and his fellow members.
hmm it's a high office,
It
and
is.
if you're, and is that the way he meets with leaders of, other countries and, you know,
He wore
businesses?
a suit for his picture.
Well, big whoop de that. Then if he has a suit, then obviously he has one. Then he could wear it.
He
You know,
chooses not to.
he doesn't need to wear the jacket unless he's on the floor or whatever. But it's a huge disrespect.
Hmm. Um, what people are saying. Rowan wrote in his opinion piece in Penn Live. Throughout 2020 campaign, U.S. Senator John Fetterman included as a keynote in his stump speech that he would always be the 51st vote for causes important to the Democrats. Fast forward 2024, and things have changed. Fetterman is now a leader among Democrat senators when it comes to capitulating to Donald Trump and the Republican Party that he controls. I don't think it's capitulating. I think he just agrees with it because it makes sense. And the voters in his area obviously voted for Trump. I've said it before, I make a suit look good, but I will wear one. That doesn't mean I like doing it. Yep.
Then
He added as oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that comes with the job. Then if you don't want to do what the job entails, then don't take the
Get
job.
on out.
Right?
Yep. That's the way I see it too. Um, don't like it, be on your way.
Uh huh.
Um, you don't gotta hold this position. Um, shit. I dropped something. Give me 1 minute. Mother fudge. Story of my life. Dropping things where I can't reach them. There we go. All right, so I'm back. Yeah, it's I think it's, he seems like a reasonable person, other than he won't wear a suit in this profession, which is very disrespectful. I absolutely agree. But everything else seems like he's just being reasonable. Am I misreading all of this?
Mhm. It doesn't sound like it when you put it like that, Crazy B.
I mean, I'm not trying to say good or bad. Again, he could be a terrible person in real life, but the way he's voting in Congress, I mean, overall seems like he's being rational, and the Democrats are just mad about it.
Right.
Um, as a Democrat Party leader who worked tirelessly to elect Fetterman in 2022, who stood by him through the hardships of his recovery of his stroke and depression, his complete abandonment of the core values of the party has become untenable. I call for his immediate resignation. Well, good luck, because other people seem to still want him in. Um, and then in this article, we have
Do you
they're
have?
claiming it's one of his closest friends, but he said otherwise. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you have any other articles? I mean, it's getting late.
Oh,
We've
it
done
is.
enough, I think, on Fetterman. Why don't you do that one piece you have on Soros?
Which
With
Oh,
did
the George Soros one?
Yeah, we only have like 20 minutes left.
Okay, give me a
Are
second
you okay with that?
to. Yeah, that works good. That
Oh,
works good.
I'm Fetterman up.
Um, you're Fettermaned out.
Mm-hmm.
You fettered out.
Yep.
All right. Close that. Open this and this. And it's only 5 minutes long, so let's give a listen and see what they say.
You have to understand, Reagan inherited in 1980 a CIA whose name was Dirt. Okay, the entire 1970s was a drag through the muck of the Central Intelligence Agency. Starting in the late 60s, the Ramparts disclosure, CIA on college campuses using college kids as assets to subvert their political anti-war movement, getting busted assassinating presidents, Frank Church holding up the heart attack gun in Congress. That all happens 1975, 1976. Jimmy Carter comes to power, pledges to crush the dark arts arm of the Central Intelligence Agency. That is the operations wing. There's an operations wing and an intelligence wing. The operations is the one who overthrows, foreign countries and everything. So he does.
The operations is why we have MK Ultra. The operations is why we have Project Hummingbird. The operations is why we have Project Blue Book. No, Project Blue. Yeah, that was CIA. So, yeah. Um, if you're not full woke Democrat or a full MAGA Republican, both sides would rather you go away, at least at the moment. Yep, until they need you to be electing them. But yeah, thanks to the operations of the CIA, we have a lot of things. Did you guys know Lyme disease was the experiment that the CIA was doing on Plum Island? It is in their documentation. It has been released. So all of us who have ever had Lyme disease, it is the CIA's fault that it is carried by ticks, more or less, and so aggressive the way it is now.
Wow.
Not sure if anybody knew that.
Nope, I didn't know that. And I've had
Yep,
Lyme disease.
I have too. It's not fun. Okay, back to video.
The Saturday Night Massacre. He lays off 30% of the CIA in a single night. The foreign policy establishment hates Jimmy Carter. Carter gets in trouble with the Iran hostage situation. 79. 80, Reagan rises to power, and he's got a compelling need, as he sees it, to restore a full-throated, red-blooded, clandestine operation capacity. But he doesn't have the political capital to do it because the left-wing Democrats hated the CIA at that time. And so what he does is, and it's not him, it's Raymond Green, and it's the whole story for another time. But basically, the people under him convinced Reagan to authorize the creation of something called the National Endowment for Democracy. This is 1982, 1983. And to structure it in a way so that the stakeholders of it would benefit both Republicans and Democrats, and it wouldn't be called the CIA. It would just be a CIA cutout that would do what the CIA used to do. And this would be waged to accomplish the Cold War goals of the Reagan administration. That is, liberating Europe from communism.
I'm beginning to think it's not.
All the different Soviet.
Hold on. I accidentally grabbed the wrong video. One moment. I accidentally grabbed the Reagan video from the guy. We're going to go to screen share. I am so sorry.
Technical support is at it again. 1 moment, please.
I'm having a day with tech today. What is going on?
I don't know.
Okay, I hope this comes through without being too glitchy. I literally just said view this tab. Okay. Oh, there we go. Now it's right. Okay, here's the George Soros one.
Hey, let's talk about George Soros for a second here. I made a post about Ronald Reagan, and I know it may come across as looking a bit inflammatory. It's not my intention. Sometimes I talk about things just matter-of-factly because the history has to be told, and you can make your own judgments about that history. So one of the posts that I put here was trying to explain why it is that the Reagan Library became this hardcore never Trump haven and why it's so institutionally against all manifestations of domestic populism. And you have to understand, Reagan inherited in 1980 a CIA whose name was Dirt. Okay, the entire 1970s was a drag through the muck of the Central Intelligence Agency. Starting in the late 60s, the Ramparts disclosure, CIA on college campuses using college kids as Frank Church holding up the heart attack, overthrows foreign countries. Trouble with the Iran hostage situation, 79. 80, Reagan rises to power, and he's got a compelling need,
How does this tie into
to restore
Soros?
a full-throated, red-blooded, clandestine operation capacity. But he doesn't have the political capital to do it because the left-wing Democrats hated the CIA at that time. And so what he does is, and it's not him, it's Raymond Green, and it's the whole story for another time. But basically, the people under him convinced Reagan to authorize the creation of something called the National Endowment for Democracy. This is 1982, 1983. And to structure it in a way so that the stakeholders of it would benefit both Republicans and Democrats, and it wouldn't be called the CIA. It would just be a CIA cutout that would do what the CIA used to do. And this would be waged to accomplish the Cold War goals of the Reagan administration. That is, liberating Europe from communism, getting Poland and all the different Soviet satellite states to throw off communism, have a U.S. favorable government installed, and win the Cold War by creating insurgency movements all over Central and Eastern Europe, in Germany, Poland, I mean, the whole litany you guys probably know. Now, there were two benefactors of this, both on the sort of cowboy and the Yankee side, if you will. They're the corporate stakeholders of this, which is like the Chamber of Commerce, which at the time was completely Republican. In fact, it was all the way up until Trump, for reasons that should be obvious by now around Trump's foreign policy. And a great example of this is the Gorbachev ad for the first Pizza Hut being installed in Russia. I mean, you capture these markets. Hundreds of millions of people now become U.S. corporate customers, in addition to a whole range of other benefits when you politically capture a country. Cheap labor, favorable tariff treatment, the supply lines, the works. So you had the energy sphere in the Chamber of Commerce on the Republican side, on the cowboy side, because that's what Reagan was. He came out of that Republican cowboy milieu. And the financial firms in New York and London, the Yankee faction, got paid off because they were all betting and speculating on the currencies of the countries that the State Department was overthrowing, in addition to being financial shareholders in the Chamber of Commerce companies. George Soros is the perfect example of this. Okay, he started the Open Society Foundation in 1979 in South Africa as a tax loophole for his kids. This is how he described it. But then in the early 80s, he linked hands with the State Department and with NATO to serve as the civil society conduit for this brand new, massive, sprawling, overt CIA that the National Endowment for Democracy and USAID and the State Department was doing. So the Open Society Foundation set up its little satellites all over Central and Eastern Europe under protection of the Reagan State Department. So you had this cowboy Yankee.
But most people forget Soros was part of the Nazis. yes, the Nazis were against communism and various other things, but they forget that he wore the uniform, if I remember correctly. It's interesting.
Alliance to topple the governments from Germany all the way eastward, bring them in the orbit of the U.S. empire. And I'm not even casting judgment on this. I'm not even saying it's a bad thing, but it is what it is. When I talk about the history of Reagan, you have to understand that the whole world that was upended in 2016 in part grew out of this firmly entrenched alliance between these power factions that Reagan very artfully navigated to make sure everybody got their cut. And the last thing here on the financial speculation. George Soros, when he set the Open Society Foundation in 1979, he was a New York hedge fund guy. He was only worth about $25 million at the time before the $30 billion or whatever it is now. He was speculating on the currencies of countries in Central and Eastern Europe while he had partnerships with the State Department and advanced knowledge of operations to overturn those countries' governments. This is the ultimate version of insider trading and of this sort of uniparty alliance. That is, he knew what countries were going to be toppled and therefore what would happen to the currency and could speculate through his hedge fund activities way in advance of that. And then beyond that, you also have the benefits of anti-communism from the stuff he was doing because all of these communist countries held collectively trillions of dollars, especially with Russia, of publicly held assets. The moment you become a private economy, all of those assets go up in a fire sale to London and Wall Street stakeholders. That is, not only did they get to do the Forex speculation, not only did they get the Chamber of Commerce proceeds, but then they also got to dumpster dive at bargain basement prices for all the formerly federally held, publicly held assets of the people who lived in those countries, so that George Soros and the Harvard Endowment and all these civil society people could leverage those financial arms to gobble up the assets. That's why when George Soros says he built his empire in the shadow of the former Soviet empire, that's where that empire comes from.
Huh. That was interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
Something definitely worth thinking about. That's so George Soros meddling is all Ronald Reagan's fault.
Is it really?
He's the one who put all this into place. I mean, it's kind of weird that he would do that.
Yeah, I don't understand why he would.
Well, he probably didn't predict that Soros would flip to supporting the Democrats and just go crazy, more or less. So, I don't know. But I mean, the fact that it's linked directly to Reagan is kind of something people don't think about.
Right.
I mean, hell, I didn't even know it till today.
Neither did I.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we really didn't dig into his background at all that much.
No, I would.
No.
I know a few things, and I know where to find things, and I would like to add to the George Soros thing. But he's technically not a politician, but
Right.
he definitely wreaks havoc in political
In
systems.
politics, definitely.
I don't like it.
No,
Basically, what we were doing to other countries, he's now doing to
uh,
us,
exactly.
meddling
Well, he's meddled for quite some time.
since the 80s. I just find it interesting that a lot of people and all the videos and stuff I've watched about him left out that the only reason he ended up in the position he was in was because of Reagan.
Right.
He says that's a bit of a stretch. That is like saying milk is a gateway drug because everybody who drank milk at one time and some went onto hard drugs. Mm, I mean, Reagan opened the door to put him in charge and meddling in these other countries. And then he just kind of went overboard from there. I don't know. I wouldn't say I don't know. That's why I said the connection is a new one to me. I
Right.
got to really look into it further.
Yeah, I
Who
don't
is
know if, yeah,
how
I don't,
did George Soros get appointed to that position?
right.
Was he hand selected? Was some other bureaucrat in charge of it? I want to know
Somebody
more.
else is
So,
involved. Probably Pelosi's in there somewhere. I
yeah,
would.
she was no, she didn't start into politics until the 90s, right?
No, she was back with Kennedy. Remember?
That was just as an aide to
I
him when
know,
he
but
was a
I don't
senator.
know how far her
Meddling goes, yeah.
exactly. All right, honey. I'm
Oh,
getting you a baba.
okay. Why don't we call it a little early? The CIA was messing around since the 50s. It didn't start with Reagan. Yeah, but he just divided it up and gave them more free reign and a direction to go to.
Come here. Come
I
here.
don't know. It's definitely interesting,
I got you.
but I say we call it a day so Dee can deal with
Oh, he's
dinner
just
time
pissed
for
off
him.
because I put him back in the bassinet, and he's like, "Oh no,
Oh,
I went to be with you." He's
he
like,
wants the he wants the cuddle time.
"Yep, here you go, here you go. Here's a baba. There you go.
He's like,
Here,
"How dare you?
yep.
How dare you put
How
me
dare you
down?"
move me from the warmth and put me in that cold bed, huh? Oh, I'm getting
Well,
you.
you got a few minutes of it, but then
Yeah.
he realized what happened
Uh
and
huh.
how
He's
dare you?
yeah, he's still having the startle reflex occur, so he keeps startling himself awake.
Ah, he'll get through that soon,
Yeah,
hopefully.
hopefully. But I apologize to everybody for uh, having him with me, but
Do not apologize. They can either accept it or go about their merry business.
well, I appreciate that, crazy bee. We didn't plan on this when we started, did we?
Nope, but we are very adaptive, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
We adapt to my son coming in and telling us he has postmortem depression.
Uh
We
huh.
adapt to everything.
Yeah, we have to. So this is I had actually planned on going back to work at least part time before they said that they were having a bit another baby, and it took almost 9 years. Thank you, Art. I appreciate that. It took them almost 9 years to have JJ. Ah,
Yep.
yeah, didn't it? Huh? And I would never let him go to daycare. So yeah, that's
You
right.
can teach him to read before he
Right,
goes to school. It's a
exactly.
lot better to have family.
Yeah, so we have them till we're three on the podcast. So it's Rex Sisters and a JJ, huh? Isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it is. Rex sisters and a little one.
Yep. And there's going to be havoc running around.
Wait till he starts talking and
Oh
we
my
can have fun
God.
with him.
Ugh,
Over on Rumble, JJ put little JJ will be the show's good luck charm.
I hope so.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
we.
I hope he helps bring in viewers because he
Yeah,
is just adorable. My God, he is so cute. And
he's a
we're not going to
cutie.
exploit him like those other idiots on the different platforms. We're just going to have him join us.
Exactly. And
We
we're going
can
to raise
create an
him up to be
account
a.
for him and he can join us as a co host or
Yeah,
something like that.
he's going to grow up to be a great man, huh?
Fingers crossed, knocking on
Yep.
wood.
Say no problems, huh? Say that's why Nini's around, huh? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I appreciate everybody's patience with us.
I'd have him reading Thomas Sowell before kindergarten.
There
Amen. Amen to
you
that.
go.
I wish I had known more of Thomas Sowell when my kids were little. I would have started sooner.
Yeah. He just has some he has his own podcast channel. If anybody's not familiar with it, just search Thomas Sowell. And he
Oh,
does short snippets, anywhere from 6 to, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 minutes. And he's a very powerful speaker. Uh, I like him a lot. He has a
I do
lot.
too.
He has a lot of experience, I think.
He has a lot of good world views that are actually more neutral.
Uh huh.
He doesn't say racism doesn't exist. He's always said it exists, but It's not the way people are describing it in the media today.
Right. Correct. He says that the media and others exploit race, and they need to have us divided by something. And if it's not going to be by race, it's going to be by class or
Yep.
some other.
I've even said it before from God. I honestly think I was like 14. I started catching the pattern that we're going to have another civil war, but it's going to be the rich versus the poor,
Yeah.
not the race. Like they claimed well, actually, the first civil war wasn't even about race. That's just the way it was taught. No, the first Civil War was about separation of powers, and I could see it happening again. And that should have been considered a revolutionary war, not a yeah. Anyways, because they were trying to get rid of a government that was over. They were just trying to break away from a government. They weren't trying to fight. They got dragged into a fight.
Mm-hmm.
I again, the more and more I know about what happened in the Civil War, the more I realized they totally labeled that wrong. It was not a civil war. They
All
were
right.
trying to break away and they got held at gunpoint. He started as a big liberal, maybe even a communist, and his research changed his views. That is the truth about Thomas Sowell. That is so the truth. And we lost Dee. I'm sure she'll be back when she can get back. But you know what? Actually, I probably should just wrap this up. Oh, I don't know if she's back. Nope, she's not. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll wrap it up. If she pops in the meantime, we'll kind of just go from there. But the 70s cult wanted a helter skelter. That's true. They did. We had that back in the 70s and stuff. Man, it's a mess. The United States is a mess. And it's really sad. Yep. You guys have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow with a little bit of gaming. If I get some gaming in and I got UFC at night. Today is Friday. I'll be in at Common Censored this evening. Absolutely going to be there. So y'all stay safe, stay sane, stay sober. That's just my go-to line. And I'll catch you guys later.